And I put my arms down and I asked her, would you really kill your own daughter? So when I had my daughter, I felt just completely overwhelmed and inadequate. It's really hard to put it into words exactly. Dropped Mikey's hand and I ran back to the apartment as fast as I could. And I busted in and I screamed, Janie's in the woods with Mr. Montgomery. It's a feeling of being in danger.
Hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your podcast host, Keegan, and this is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues, and topics. And I've got some questions for you today. Do you feel broken? Do you feel like life really sucks? Do you feel like there's a way out, but you're not really sure what it looks like? Well, my guest today is Adriene Caldwell, author of Unbroken, Life Outside the Lines, and Life Outside, a haunting and deeply courageous memoir that lays bare the realities of surviving childhood trauma, systemic failure, and generational pain. Adriene's life has been shaped by experience no one should ever have to endure, let alone a child. Her story includes emotional and physical abuse, sexual violence, and the devastating loss of a sibling, and the cold indifference of a broken institution. But even amidst all that, Unbroken is more than a recounting of tragedy. It's a powerful testament to the strength that it takes to keep going when the world seems determined to break you. Please be advised that this episode contains descriptions of severe trauma, including child abuse, sexual assault, and suicide. If these topics are difficult for you, please take care in choosing whether and how you listen today. So, Adriene, how are you doing today? It is wonderful to have you on.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege and an honor to be here. I am Adriene Caldwell. I am the author of Unbroken, Life Outside the Lines. It is the story of my life from early childhood to early 20s. And during this time, you mentioned a few of them. During this time, I was either the witness to or the victim of the sexual assault of a young girl, the drowning death of another, emotional and physical abuse, extreme poverty, mental illness, homelessness, horrifically abusive foster care, bulimia, drug and alcohol addiction, pedophilia, death, suicide, and incest. So I have had more than a few traumas and tragedies in my life, but that's what made me the person that I am today. So even though it's quite a lot, I wouldn't change a single thing. So Keegan, I'm going to ask you, out of that list, was there anything that jumped out at you? Anything that you'd like to hear about more?
First of all, I've got to say that is an extensive list that no one should ever have to carry around. So thank you for even being vulnerable and open enough to be willing to talk about that stuff. Because people that go through any of those things feel like they're alone in the moment, right?
Absolutely.
So my question is, which one of those situations did you feel most alone in, if you had to say? Because each one is their own special kind of suck, but which suck was the worst suck in the loneliness aspect?
Okay, let me think about that for a moment.
Okay.
The one where I felt most vulnerable, most alone, I guess I would say, would be the sexual assault of a young girl. And I kind of have to give a little bit of background about it.
Okay.
Just to give context to the story.
Of course.
But my grandfather was military Navy. They retired him due to schizophrenia. And he moved the family from North Carolina to Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And then he promptly abandoned the family and left with his mistress. So, yeah, a little rough start. We went from a nice rental home into an apartment that was in not a luxury apartment, not the ghetto. It was just, par
Middle
for
class.
The course. Mediocre.
Yeah, mediocre. Okay.
But for me, it was the first time that I was really around other children other than my cousin.
Okay.
So I became friends with a girl named Jane, and I had a little boyfriend. I was 5 years old. We were all 5 and 6 years old. And we would play together. And One time we were outside playing in the grassy courtyard. This man had this black Labrador that was just absolutely adorable. And the three of us, Janie, Mikey, and myself, we were running circles and laughing and just having a great time. And my grandmother came out to check on us, and she saw that we were fine. She spoke with the man. His name was Mr. Montgomery. He was actually a resident in the apartment complex. Okay. My grandmother went back inside the apartment, and we carried on playing with the dog. Well, after a while, Mr. Montgomery said, "Guys, I need to take Buster," that was the dog's name, Buster, "for his walk. We go in the woods. Would you guys like to join me?" And so, of course, we didn't want to stop playing with the dog. And we thought, well, my grandmother just checked on me. We're fine. So Mr. Montgomery led the way. There was a trail next to some woods next to the apartment complex. He was ahead, and he was holding Janie's hand. And Mikey and I, being boyfriend and girlfriend at 5 years old, we were holding hands. And we were walking behind them. And we came to two rocks in the middle of the pathway, large enough that you couldn't just step on them, you had to step over them. And that's where I stood, and in my gut, I got this overwhelming feeling of danger, that something was not right. And I dropped Mikey's hand and I ran back to the apartment as fast as I could. And I busted in and I screamed, "Janie's in the woods with Mr. Montgomery." And my uncle ran out the door and we waited, and not very long at all afterwards, he came back in and he was cradling Janie in his arms. She was laying across, her dress was completely covered in blood, and my uncle didn't realize that I would still be in the living room. And he started screaming, "Go to your room, get in your room, go to your room." And so, of course, I did. I ran to my room, I slammed the door shut. But what I had seen has stayed with me forever. Seeing Janie, seeing the blood on her dress, her just being pale as a ghost, and it haunts me having seen that.
Yeah.
And the police were notified. Later on that evening, I sat in the front seat of a patrol car with the police officer. I explained, I gave as much information as I could about Mr. Montgomery, what he was wearing, what he looked like. They actually picked him up not too far down the road.
Wow.
And he was put in prison.
Good.
Now, he only served 3 years in prison. And so obviously, me being 5 years old, the family didn't discuss what had happened to Janie at length with me present. But I was able to overhear what he did to her. He actually violated her body with tree branches. And I heard that she was having surgery in the hospital and that she might never be able to have children because of what happened to her. So here I am, after speaking to the police officer, after what I witnessed, and I had two real takeaways from that event. The first was, little girls are not safe. It was the first time in my life where I had experienced true fear. And the second thing that I learned was to listen to my inner instinct. It was that voice that started screaming that warning to me that saved me. Now, my family, military family, very, give orders and no questions asked, you obey. And nobody in my family sat me down and talked to me about the event, about what I had seen. I was basically left on my own to deal with it. And there were several emotions that I was feeling. I was having what we now know as survivor's guilt. I was ashamed to admit it, but I was relieved that it didn't happen to me.
Oh, yeah.
And feeling that relief just made me so ashamed of myself. And not knowing if Mr. Montgomery would have done what he did to Janie, if Mikey and I had been there, would it still have happened? And then would it have happened to me? So just a lot of feelings. And my military family, they don't believe in mental illness. They don't believe in therapy or counseling or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I really was just left on my own to deal with it. And yeah, it is a haunting nightmare that when I think about it, instantly recall the image of seeing her in my uncle's arms. And it was horrific. Her family ended up moving away. I never spoke to her again, which, good and bad, I didn't really know how to face her. Or if, I still had feelings like I had abandoned her.
Yeah.
So that's the story. That's
Oh man, holy cow, that is rough, and that is something that no one should ever have to experience. No one should ever have to go through. No one should ever have to witness any of those kind of things. And that happened at such a young age that, yeah, that is very much a portion of probably what shaped you, right, into who you are today. And
absolutely. I am incredibly cautious, always aware of my surroundings. I never let my guard down.
Yeah, and I don't blame you, because after that kind of event, it's like everything trust-wise is just shattered in one instant. Oh man.
Absolutely.
So my question is, with the guilt aspect, the survivor's guilt, man, that one is got to be really rough, because I know for myself, I would want nothing more than to reach out and see how she's doing, like in today, like, just see how everything caught up and maybe get some kind of closure in that aspect. But that doesn't seem like it's something you can really do. I mean, I know whenever I was younger, like having friends, we had first names, we didn't have last names, we didn't know all this, so it was like, hey, I remember a Dustin from like living down in Houston a long time ago, but that's it. Like Dustin, like I think my family knew their last names, but as far as I know, that's it. So there's no real way to reach out, and you can't really say, hey, if this happened to you, let's connect. Like you can't put an ad on Craigslist or something like that for an old connection.
No, and you're right. I didn't know her last name. I didn't know her family, and all I ever heard was what I overheard, and they were rumors at best. I pray that they were able to repair her, and that she was able to have children if she chose to do so.
Yeah. Which in those instincts that you got, really, like, did you ever, that was probably the first time you felt them like that too, right? And
Correct.
so you never really doubted your gut ever again after that, huh?
I did. I can't think of one instance in particular, but there have been times in my 45 years of life where I've ignored it and bad things have happened. So
Man.
I have learned that whenever it goes off, whenever I start getting those warning bells inside my head, I listen to it. And I would encourage everybody to do the same. I feel like there's almost a sixth sense, if you want to, if you want that we have an intuition, and at least I do.
Yeah.
And the times that I've ignored it, I've come to regret it.
Yeah.
So
if you're encouraging people to listen to it, to feel for it, What does it feel like for you? How does it sound like for you?
For me, it's a whole body experience, and mentally, it's in my gut. I feel this tightness, this clenching, and mentally, I get this feeling of fear and uncertainty. Just something is off. Something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to put it into words exactly.
Yeah.
But it's a feeling of being in danger.
Yeah.
In some way. And when I get that feeling, I know that I need to extricate myself from whatever situation I have.
Well, yeah, for sure. If it gave you that kind of feeling at such a young age and then helped you avoid or possibly avoid that whole situation and to get to that spot, then yeah, I'd say listen to it. And it's one of those things that no one really teaches us how to feel for that. You know, no one ever goes like, hey, if you listen to your gut and you feel your body react in this way, you should probably like get out of that situation.
Well, hopefully they listen to this podcast, and if they don't know it already, maybe we can teach them.
Yeah. And that's the kind of thing too, right? Like if we don't have people speaking out about these kind of things, then we don't have stories to go off of for other people in the future.
You are right. You're absolutely correct, Keegan.
And that's kind of the bad thing though too, is that like Mr. Montgomery, I don't think he should have only been in there for 3 years, but there's nothing that we can do in that regard. But I guess the only thing we can do is just do the stranger danger kind of thing. But I mean, that also can be problematic in itself, because then you shut yourself off from forming friendships and relationships in the future. So
absolutely, it's a double-edged sword. Absolutely.
Did you have any situations or like experiences like that, having to redevelop that kind of trust with strangers and stuff? Because I imagine that it would have been really difficult to trust anyone that was even kind of resembled that person, you know?
So I just thought of another story where my instinct kicked in.
Okay.
If you're up for it. Okay.
Yeah.
So my mother was schizophrenic and physically abusive, and we were living in a government subsidized apartment, and she had found a man from television. He was on death row for raping and murdering several women. Well, I did not know this at the time. I was in 6th grade, so that's 11, 12 years old. And we were away from my aunts and uncles. I had 2 sets of aunts and uncles that my mother and I, and eventually my brother when he came along, that we would rotate and live with them. So having this government apartment meant that my mother had autonomy over me in a way that really she hadn't had. She was free to abuse me. And my family did very little to interject. And my mother decided that we, meaning she, myself, and my brother, were going to move to San Francisco. And I knew that even though my family wasn't around often, in 2 years, they probably checked in 3, maybe 4 times to see how we were doing. But I knew that having some family around was better than no family. And weekend before the last week of school, my mother took us down to the Greyhound bus station, and she tried to force me to get on a bus to go to San Francisco so that she could continue her relationship with this man on death row. And I absolutely refused. And remember, I'm 12 years old. You can't exactly force a 12-year-old onto a bus in public surrounded by people. So what she did was, the last day of school, I didn't see her, but I called my Aunt Lynn, on a payphone. This is 90, I think 92, 93 payphones, pre-cell phone.
Yeah.
My mother, all I saw was an arm reach over and she disconnected the call. And I was calling Aunt Lynn to say, look, my mother is not in her right frame of mind. She is not well. We're in danger. My brother and I are in danger. Please come help us. And I didn't have a chance to get all of that out. Now, Children's Protective Services had already been involved. My family knew what my mother was up to. So we go back to the apartment. My mother beats me. Do you know that wooden rod in your closet that you hang your clothes on?
Yeah, like a thick dowel rod.
Yes, exactly. So basically the equivalent of a baseball bat. She beats me. And this time, when she takes us to the Greyhound bus station, I listen. I get on the bus and we take the 2-day trip. When we get there, the homeless shelter that she had planned for us to stay at was actually closed for renovation. I will never get over the irony of that. The homeless shelter being renovated, closed for renovations. They needed carpet. So we have absolutely nowhere to go. And I wait, and this is important. At the end of the beating, my mother told me that if I got my brother taken away from her, as I mentioned, CPS had visited the home. She said, if you get your brother taken from me, I will kill you.
Ooh.
And I looked at her. I was laying on the ground. My arms had been over my head from when she was beating me. And I put my arms down and I asked her, would you really kill your own daughter? And she looked at me and said, well, if I beat your head into the concrete and you died, then it wouldn't be my fault. So when we are at the Greyhound bus station in San Francisco and we're sleeping on the benches because the homeless shelters closed for renovations, I knew that I had to get away. I had to escape. And I waited until somewhere between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And one of the hardest decisions was leaving my brother. He was 3 years old at the time. And he was sleeping on the bench with my mother. And I was not sure that I could get him, wake him up, and take him with me because I was running away.
Yeah.
And so I ran upstairs, used a payphone, called my best friend's family, and they said, get away from there, get away from the bus station as quickly as you can. And so I leave the bus station and I am running. So 3 a.m. San Francisco, I am running down the street from the Greyhound bus station. So you can imagine it's not the nicest neighborhood, not the nicest place. And this car pulls up to me and the man rolls the window down and he says, sweetie, do you need help? Because of course I am just sobbing and terrified because I know that my mother, she meant what she said. My life was in danger if she caught me. So I get in the car with this man, and as we're driving, I show him the bruises on my arms, and I try to explain what the situation is, that my mother is going to kill me if she catches me. I need to get away. And he says, it's okay, you're safe now. And he places his right hand on my left thigh. And that's when my inner instinct just, the alarms were blaring. Just, this is not okay. 3 a.m. San Francisco street, strange man. He got me away from the bus station, but when we pulled up to a red light, I opened the door and I got out.
Good.
Yeah. And just to finish the story, I ran into this posh, swanky hotel that was across the street, and I called my best friend's family back, and her father actually flew up to San Francisco, got me, took me back to Houston, and the police, when they were going through the bus station, they actually spoke with my mother and realized that I was missing. that she had nowhere to go, that she and my brother were there homeless. And so they took my brother and put him in children's protective custody. And by the end of the week, they flew him back to Houston.
Okay.
So we were rescued, essentially.
Yeah.
But that man, when he put his hand on my thigh, that's when I didn't even say anything. I didn't act anyway. I just, at the first red light, I bailed out.
Yep.
And got away from him. So that's another time where I think that could have gone very, very badly had I stayed.
Well, yeah, for sure.
So
I'm really glad to hear that you were able to escape that situation, because holy cow, that is one of those situations that's like, it probably felt like 2 days in a matter of an hour or so. And I can't imagine having to go through it myself. So my deepest heartfelt condolences to having to go through those experiences.
Thank you.
Of course. And it's hard to say that you really experienced life, I guess, without any sort of trauma after all that, because I mean, hurt people, and I found that whenever I was hurt, I hurt myself more, than other people did, and I don't think that's something we talk a whole lot about in those situations. And also, I want to say, really smart move on not saying anything, just dipping out of the car, because if you let the guy know you were onto him, then who knows. And I think that's something else that we can kind of like highlight here, is that like, if you're in danger, just GTFO. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
You're
like,
absolutely right.
yeah, find your escape route, be quiet about it, and take it whenever you get the chance. Like, if you find yourself in that situation, which I hope no one ever does, but as we just heard, situations happen, and that's the thing. You shouldn't blame yourself, shouldn't necessarily blame those around you, but definitely don't blame yourself, because those kind of things, just, life is very strange and very weird.
Absolutely. And it can be very dangerous. And when you get those feelings, listen. That's, call it God, call it the universe, call it your sixth sense, whatever name you want to give it, just listen to it.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, you're in danger. It's real.
Yeah.
So
then that's a feeling that you can't really erase from your memory either.
Nope.
It's not something that's like, oh, that was a bad time, oh, glad that was over, whatever. It's kind of just stuck like a bad sticker. You try to peel it off of a book and you're like, oh crap, and got that residue on there forever. So
goo gone. You need goo gone.
So is there a goo gone for that kind of experience though for you? Is there something that actually has worked to kind of minimize that kind of stuff, or is it just still as potent as ever?
That's a great question. When I think about it, it feels like yesterday. But I don't live in the past. I don't live in the experiences that I've endured. And I prefer to stay in the present. And I am very, very blessed. I have a wonderful life now.
Yeah.
So I don't say that like I earned it. I, had a bad time then, so I get a good time now. No, that's not what I'm saying. But yeah, it would just reinforce my notion that if I get those feelings, I absolutely listen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we've covered that. Was there another topic that caught your interest?
Yeah.
Out of the trigger list.
Yeah, so I have a personal history of addiction and substance abuse. So my question is, after having gone through all of that, personally, I know exactly where I would have gone. So my question is, was it a personal problem that you experienced, or was it from the third party aspect, the one where you were more experiencing and watching someone go through the addiction as opposed to going through it yourself?
No, it was absolutely me. I was perfect in high school. In fact, I never even went to any parties in high school.
What?
Yeah, no. I was an ugly duckling. I developed later. And yeah, no. When I got to college, all hell broke loose.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I went to Southwest Texas State.
Huh. Okay.
The way I ended up there, I was in high school, 12th grade. I was in the counselor's office, and I overheard one of the counselors telling another girl, "Hey, Southwest is having honors weekend.
Hmm.
If you want to go visit the campus,
Mm-hmm.
you can drive up there. They'll put you in a dorm room, share a room with some girls living in the dorm, and you can tour the campus." So I went, saw the campus. It was beautiful. The
Mhm.
two girls that I was sharing their dorm room with, they took me to a frat party in Southwest. If you don't know, back in like late 70s or early 80s, I'm not sure, but it was ranked like one of Playboy's top 20 party schools.
Wow.
So now, my first semester, I took 18 hours and 2 honors courses.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that was actually the least I ever took. It was not uncommon for me to take 21 hours
Boy.
with honors. But I managed to do that while self-medicating. So I didn't start drinking heavily.
Mhm.
I moved into this nice apartment, and across the street were across the breezeway in the apartment were 3 hot guys, college guys, and they would invite me over to drink and hang out. And I had never seen cocaine before. And the guy I was dating, he offered it to me, and I said, "Oh, no, I'm not going to do that." But after 2 or 3 times of him offering, I caved and I said yes.
Yeesh.
Do you have any experience with cocaine?
Yeah.
Okay. I loved it. It made me feel amazing. And I had a very intense relationship with cocaine for 5 months. Like, I could knock down an 8-ball in less than a day and a half. So I had some serious commitment to it.
Yeah.
And I loved it. But I recognized that if I continue on this path, it will destroy my life.
Oh, yeah.
So in high school, I had won a congressional scholarship to do a 1-year foreign exchange to Germany. That was my junior year of high school.
Okay.
So I made a plan that I was going to, in Germany, they don't have fall and spring semesters. They have summer and winter. So I made a plan that I was going to go back and live with my original host family, and I was going to attend the University of Hamburg during their summer semester. What I was really doing was putting myself in an environment where I knew no one who had cocaine, who used cocaine, who had access to it. I took myself out of that environment and put myself in a self-imposed rehab, if you will.
Yep.
And it was not easy. I didn't go through like sweating or like shakes or nausea, but the cravings were just insanely intense. Like, yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah.
And what I used to curb the cravings was alcohol.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
No.
So I came back from Germany and I never touched cocaine again.
Good.
I said, I don't do drugs. You know, if it doesn't have my name on the bottle, I'm not taking it. And that was my stance. That was cocaine over.
Okay.
But my relationship with alcohol was just blossoming.
No.
So I actually had to hit rock bottom. I was engaged to be married, and the guy, my fiance, canceled the wedding 1 week before it was to happen.
Whoa.
Yep. I ended up with a second DUI. The first one, I was applying to law school. I had been accepted at Texas Tech, which is in Lubbock, Texas, which is nowhere. You know how in movies you see tumbleweeds like across the... Yeah, that actually exists. That's real.
I'm from Amarillo, so... Yep.
So you know.
I know
I'm a
exactly what you're talking
Houston girl.
about.
I'm a city girl. I thought that was only in movies.
Nope, I've seen people driving home from Amarillo with tumbleweeds in their car to bring back to New York. So, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It exists. It does exist.
Wow. Wow. So Lubbock was not for me. So third day there, I called my Aunt Rose, who she
Mhm.
raised me.
Uh-huh.
Off and on, she raised me. I consider her my second mother. And I was
Mhm.
crying. I was in a Chili's. I was drinking a margarita, and I was
Oh.
crying on the phone. And she said, "Adriene, just come home. Just come back."
Yeah.
So I was in the midst of applying to University of Houston Law when I got my first DUI.
Mm.
And because I was going to be a lawyer, I just got a slap on the wrist. I had to pay court fines, and yeah, time served. I had spent the night overnight in a local, Houston, we have suburb communities
Uh-huh.
with their own names. So
Yeah.
I spent the night in Tomball Police Department detention.
Okay.
And it really just, it wasn't a big deal. And it didn't make an impression. And so driving after my fiance canceled the wedding, I was, as you can imagine, more than a little upset. I was drinking and driving, and I got pulled over. My aunt refused to come get me until her day off. So I spent like 4 or 5 days in jail.
Boy.
And this time I was not let off the hook easily. And after I got out of jail, my fiance had all my stuff in the garage, and I was told to pack a suitcase. And I asked my Aunt Rose and Uncle John if I could come back and live with them. And they said no.
Oof.
So I had to turn to my other aunt and uncle, and they were, to put it nicely, white trash. They smoked so much weed that everything in their mobile home, the mobile home that had orange cones, areas where you couldn't step because you would fall through the floorboard.
No.
Yeah. I do mean it quite literally. Cockroaches, the full works.
Yep.
The residue of the marijuana on the blinds, on every surface, everything.
Yeah.
Having to go so low as to ask for them to take me in. Otherwise, I would have been on the streets.
Yeah.
And that's when, much like what I did with cocaine, I knew I needed to get myself away from my environment. As I imagine you know, when you drink, you find, when you're an alcoholic, you tend to gravitate to other alcoholics because it normalizes the behavior.
Yep.
Well, they're drinking too, so I can't have a problem. They're doing it too. And yeah.
Yep.
So I actually decided to be a nanny.
Okay.
And because I'm just going to be honest, and it's awful, but the truth is, I was white with a college education and willing to be a nanny. And when I went, I had a choice between a family in Chicago and a family in Seattle. And I chose Seattle because I knew Chicago got really cold, and I'm not a fan of the cold. So
Fair enough.
I went to Seattle, and I was sober until I met my future husband. And he was actually on vacation. He had just graduated from university. He was from England. And he had sold his house for double the money. And he was touring the U.S. And I met him 2 months into his 3-month tour. You're allowed to stay in the U.S. for 3 months before you have to go back. So he spent 2 weeks back home, and then he came back. And so knowing him all of 4 months, we decided to get married. And just to be clear, we got married for a green card so that he could stay here and we could keep dating.
Gotcha.
Well, we got a wedding present that we were not anticipating. I didn't even think I could have this wedding present. I thought that I was unable to have children. Well, I was proven wrong. So we actually conceived on the weekend that we got married. So I like to make it very clear we did not get married because I was knocked up. I was not knocked up. It was for a green card, okay? So he made the mistake of encouraging me to drink. And after a while, you know, England, drinking's very common. And after a while, he saw the dark side. Some people can drink and they're happy and bubbly and, you know, having a blast. That's not me. It unleashes my inner demons. Like all of the pain and the rage and the hurt that I have accumulated from a lifetime of being abused repeatedly and in different ways. I mean, you've heard my trigger list. That all comes out when I drink. So I gave birth to my daughter August 7th and November 8th. Before that, during these first 3 months, his parents had come over and I was begging him. In fact, when I had got taken into CPS, one of the psychiatric evaluations, they made note of the fact that I said, I don't want children because I'm scared that I'm going to do to them what my mother did to me. So when I had my daughter, I felt just completely overwhelmed and inadequate. And I told my husband, her father, just take her, go with your parents, raise her. I can't raise her. And so I was drinking and I would just cry in the stairwell. November 8th, I woke up on the bathroom floor on the nice fuzzy bath mat. I seemed to like passing out there. And that was the day that I made the decision that I was going to give my daughter the childhood that I did not have. And that was the last time that I drank.
Wow.
Now, I've had 4 instances, 3 where I had a glass of champagne and decided, no, you know, this is one devil I don't need to let out the box. About 3 years ago, I had a relapse. My uncle had just died a very painful, agonizing, brutal death of cancer. He died from cancer. It was horrific. He didn't have health insurance and hospitals wouldn't help him. In fact, so it was esophageal cancer. He couldn't eat. The hospital that he went to, they put in a feeding tube, but they would not give him food. He went 4 days without food in the hospital. But because he didn't have insurance, they did the bare minimum to keep him alive. So I had just watched that. My other aunt, the white trash aunt, she had just gotten diagnosed with cancer and was undergoing treatment. And I was just having a really difficult time. And Christmas Eve, I bought 2 bottles of Dom Perignon, Moet White Star, except now it's called something different. And I knocked those 2 bottles back. My husband, not my daughter's father, he had actually passed away, but my husband got to see me drunk, which was the one and only time that he's ever seen that. And those demons came out and I howled. I was in so much pain that he thought I was going to wake the neighbors and that they were going to call the police. But I was in so much pain. I was in so much agony, all of the residual from my childhood and losing family members and just watching them just struggle with just cancer is brutal. And I, next day, Christmas, I couldn't even make it to my family's house. But I still hold November 8th as my sobriety date. And I haven't had a drink since.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. Thank you
Of course.
very much.
Yeah.
I don't For me, addiction is very personal.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to AA groups, and I don't want to knock them. For
Mhm.
some people, they work
Uh-huh.
and fantastic. That's great.
Yep.
For me, it doesn't work for me. To me, it feels like I am just reliving those moments, almost like navel gazing.
Uh,
Feel like I'm not competing with the others,
mm,
but kind of reminiscing, kind
mhm.
of rolling in the mud, if you will.
Yeah.
That's how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
So I adopt the mentality that I did with cocaine. It's just not something I do.
Yeah.
So I don't do it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm fine with, like, I'll get my husband a bourbon on Friday when he comes home from work. Hey, babe, here, have a drink.
Uh-huh.
And I'm totally good with it. And we go to bars. I love to go dancing. And we have a good time. It's just not part of my life. It's not something I do. I do the drugs that have my name on them.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Man, that is a riveting tale of addiction, and I love how open you are with it because it didn't just start with one thing and stay with one thing. You actually went through and gave us the whole, like, this is where and how it started, how it developed, how it ended, how another one picked up, and where it went. And that's the important part about addiction stories, because a lot of the time some people will just go, yeah, I had it really bad with this one substance, and then this is where it went, and then this is how it ended. There we go. But whenever you were talking about cocaine, I had to giggle a little bit because it made me think of Robin Williams' quote with it, because whenever he was doing stand up, he was like, "Man, I love cocaine because it makes me feel like a brand new person." But the only problem is that brand new person wants to do a line of coke right away. You know?
Yes.
And I was like, "Yeah, it's true. It's true."
Popping up every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Do another one. Do another one.
Yep. And it's one of those things too, is that, I mean, everyone has their own issues with substances or alcohol and so on and so forth. And like you said, addiction is personal. And like my journey with addiction had got me through a rehab that was 9 months long, started with AA/CA, stuff like that. And as I've gone my recovery journey, my views on recovery and addiction have just flip-flopped left and right, all over the place. And I totally agree with you. Like, AA is for some people, it is not for everyone. And I think that that's where they kind of fall short, is that they kind of say it's our way or the highway kind of
I
thing.
agree with you on that.
Yeah, and I agree that there is like some sentiment and like valuable stuff that they all have, because it's worked for so many people for so long. But that's the thing, is that it's much like the American school system. Just because some people understand certain things certain ways does not mean everyone understands the same thing the same way, and everyone's curriculum needs to be a little bit different to
take from it what works from you and leave what doesn't.
Yeah. And so it's amazing that you were able to do that for yourself, because a lot of people don't really get to that point. And you sat there and you just said, it's not for me, and these are things I just don't do anymore. You didn't sit there and you didn't pick up a label and carry it around saying, oh, this is me. And I think that if I had to guess, and I'm not an expert or anything in any regards, I'm just going to guess that you didn't associate a label with the addiction aspect of saying, like, I'm a cocaine addict, alcoholic, and carry it and hold on to it and everything, because you've already had to deal with identity issues from a young age.
You're absolutely correct. I am not my label.
There you go.
I went through a period where I lived my label, and like cocaine, like alcohol, I put it down. I am not my label, and I think you're right. People live it, and it becomes all encompassing.
Yeah.
And I don't live my life that way. I am a complete person. One aspect does not define my entirety, my person.
Yeah.
So.
And that's kind of the thing too. You were talking about how it feels like you all kind of reminisce in AA. And that's one of the things, is that I've noticed every single group is entirely different. And
Okay.
some groups are definitely like, let's live in the past, let's highlight the good times and
Yeah.
minimize the bad times. And then I've been in groups where it's like we can talk about the situation, but what we do after that is we go, but this is how I got better and this is where I'm at now. And those are the ones that I'm like, oh yeah, I like hearing that because it goes, oh, I can relate to that. And then, oh, hey, that's what they did to get better. Maybe I could implement something like that for myself to
Right.
help my stuff out. But whenever it's just like, oh yeah, back in the day I had this and I had that, and it's like, well, if it was so good, why don't you have that stuff anymore?
Yeah. No, I like that. I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But Adrian, real quick, I'm just looking at the time. We're getting close to the end of this episode, but I have to ask, do you think that we could see you on in the future? Because, I mean, you've got a lot of story to tell, and I just have to say thank you, first of all, for opening up as much as you have. But if you're willing, I'd love to get you on for round 2 so that maybe your book will be out by that point, and we'll be able to really figure out more about Adriene Caldwell.
I would love that. Thank you so much. I'm honored. Yes,
Of course.
absolutely. I would
Sweet.
love to come back. I would
Awesome.
love to come back for round 2. That sounds great. I feel very honored. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Because we really, really, really need stories like yours to be just highlighted, and it sucks that someone had to go through it, but it's kind of one of those things is that you help soften the path for those that follow behind, right?
that's my
It's
hope.
yeah. You can't take away the pain of everyone in the same regards of the experiences that you've done, but what you can do is say, you're not alone. I hear you. I see you. Let's walk together.
Yes. I
And
will consider my book,
mhm,
Unbroken Life Outside the Lines, I will consider it a success if I change one person's life in a truly meaningful, definitive way. I want to help one person truly. And if I can do that, if I accomplish that, then it will have been worth everything. And I will tell you, writing this book has been hell. I mean, we've talked about 3 or 4 stories today.
uh,
Talking about all the stories,
mhm,
it's been brutal. It's been brutal
yeah,
because I offer the same level of candor and honesty
mhm,
in the book as I've shared with you on the show.
mm.
So,
Well, it sounds like an amazingly powerful book, and I can guarantee you that someone will have their life absolutely just, I don't even know the right word to say, because some people are going to have it to where it's like, oh, holy, I'm not alone. Oh, holy cow, this happens to other people, and there is a way out. And I think maybe on our next episode, we could highlight a little bit of that stuff too. Instead of sitting there hashing up the old stuff, we can talk about how did you get better? Like, after
yeah.
going through all that kind of stuff, what is it like on the other side, and how did you get there? Because it's not just, oh, you decided one day that everything was great. It's you decided you wanted everything to get great and you had to work towards it, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's been a process. It was not a change.
Yeah.
And I've actively endeavored, I've made conscious decisions to
Hmm.
put myself in a position to
Hmm.
succeed, to have the life that I do now. And it was in no way accidental. It
Uh,
was very purposeful and very driven. So yeah, I would love to come back and yeah, share that with your audience.
okay.
Yeah,
Sweet.
absolutely. Thank you.
Of course. I've got one last question for you, though, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
All right. So, Adrian, the name of this podcast is Retrieving Sanity, and we explore how all facets of living life impact mental health. Looking at the incredible motley adventures of your life, what does retrieving sanity personally mean to you today? And what's one practice or perspective you believe is crucial for anyone on that journey?
Retrieving sanity.
Hmm.
What is crucial? Give me a minute. I need a
Okay.
minute on this one.
Okay. And it can change, it doesn't have to be something that's solid.
Retrieving sanity. Honestly, I think that living through your experiences, allowing yourself to feel them, not medicating them away, not numbing yourself away from the pain, from the trauma, actually going through it rather than around it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that is going to be most impactful, fruitful for growth, for
Okay.
personal growth, and for your sanity, for your mental health, for your happiness. You can't skip steps. You can't skip the hard part. You can't skip the deep feelings and your emotions. You gloss over it, or if you try to bury it, it's gonna come back to haunt you. So that's my answer.
I love that. And you just made me think about something. The way you said, like, to bury the emotions or whatever you're going through and it comes back to haunt you, it's like you're literally burying it alive. And it comes back as a specter of sorts. Great.
I like that.
Yeah. Now I know why I'm so haunted. Got it.
Sorry, you shouldn't laugh, but
No,
yeah.
it's totally fine.
And you have to be able to laugh.
Uh,
You really do. If you take everything just seriously all the time, you don't want to be buried under the avalanche of your trauma. So, you don't get to avoid it, but you also don't want to let it dictate your life. So you have to be in control of yourself and your emotions.
Yeah. And being able to laugh at oneself is great, so long as you don't self-deprecate to the point of eliminating all self-worth like I did.
That's one of my pet peeves with my husband. He engages in self-deprecating humor. And I tell him, I didn't marry a man who is blah 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 or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I do think that, people who say stuff like that believe there's a kernel in there somewhere that actually believes it.
Yep.
And
it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if he feeds that kernel of self-deprecation, self-doubt, then what's going to grow there is just more of that same stuff.
Yes.
So how we talk to ourselves matters.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Absolutely. The good and the bad.
Yep. All the way through and through. But with that being said, Adriene, we have reached the end of this episode. Everyone out there, thank you for listening to Retrieving Sanity on WDJY 99.1 FM. This has been Keegan, and this has been Adriene Caldwell. And one more time, where can people find your website and your book whenever it comes out?
My website is Unbroken Caldwell, CALDWELL. And my book is actually available for pre-order right now. So any major retailer, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, you name it.
Sweet.
It's out there.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to our next conversation, and I just got to say thank you again. I have been honored and I'm just blown away by this amazing conversation because it takes a lot to do what you do. And I got to say thank you on behalf of everyone out there that's going to either hear this conversation or read your book. So thank you.
Thank you, Keegan. It's been a pleasure to be here on the show and to share with you and your audience. So thank you very much for having me. And
of course,
I look forward to coming back.
Alrighty. Well, thank you very much. And everyone out there, y'all have a wonderful rest of your day or night, whenever it is that you may be listening to this. And remember to love yourself, love those around you, but you gotta love yourself first. Be kind to those around you if you can, but just try to be a good person because it's not that hard. So with that being said, we're out of here and we will see you next week. Shalom.